And here with one of our very, very favorites, CBS's own Pete Prisco. And Pete, a year ago at this time, the Browns, a lot of buzz about this team. Now, a year later, so much has changed. Just when you think about where we were a year ago to where we are now, kind of what's your thoughts on the state of the Browns now being led by Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski?
Well, I think people got caught up last year in the bells and whistles of football instead of looking at the reality of what was on that offensive line. The offensive line struggled. The tackles were terrible. And I don't care what you have as an offense and who you have as a play caller, it's not going to show up. Plus, a lack of discipline was apparent in that building, and that's a problem. Kevin Stefanski will fix that. People think Kevin Stefanski is an analytics guy. And yes, he has some analytics background, but he's a Philly guy. And the Philly guys have an edge to him. He will come in there, and he will instill discipline in that building.
Absolutely, and that's the hope, and obviously brings an offense that has proven to be very successful around the NFL, that Shanahan-Kubiak school of offense, which also helps the offensive line perform at a higher level.
Yeah, I don't think any offense would help those two tackles, though. So they need to get better they need to get better at the tackle position. There's no doubt about it. Once they do, then that offense will work. You run the ball, you throw off of that. I think Mayfield's perfect for that system. It works. And Kevin Stefanski, again, I want to say this again because I know Kevin. Kevin will bring an edge to that team. Remember, he's been around sports his entire life. His dad is a general manager in the NBA for a long time. They know what it takes to win.
Absolutely, and that's the hope, right? That's why he is here, aligned with Andrew Berry, who spent a year in Philly, as you talked about, with Howie Roseman, and learned certainly from him in that season, and to get this thing right. You mentioned tackle, offensive line. This is a very good tackle draft class, and the Browns sitting at 10, obviously. If they decide to go that route, we'll have an opportunity to get a pretty good one.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys. I mean, you talk about Wirfs, you talk about Becton, who I think is going to really soar up the board.
Yes.
He might end up being the first tackle picked. You know how NFL people are. He's 6'8" or whatever he is. He's enormous. Big guy, athletic as heck. And then you have the kid from Alabama, Wills. I watched him on tape yesterday against Chason. He was outstanding against him. This is a really good tackle group. And if you need one and you want a left tackle, go get him because he's there.
Yeah, certainly that seems like it could be the plan. Now, free agency, I know you put your top 100 free agents out there at CBSSports.com. Little plug for Pete there. And there was some interesting stuff in there, Pete. I got to talk to you about it. Quarterbacks, obviously this could be the craziest offseason we've ever seen with some of the names that were on there. Now, they might not all hit free agency, but the possibilities are pretty wild.
Well, Drew Brees is going back. I think that's pretty much – I think Tom Brady's going back. I really do. I think in the end – he hates off-season workouts. If he goes to a new team, he's going to have to be involved in the off-season workouts. I think he's going to go back. And so then where do the rest of them go? I think Rivers goes to Indianapolis. Cam Newton's coming back to Carolina. I've heard that all along. He was coming back. They were never getting rid of him. Where's Teddy Bridgewater going to go? I think Teddy Bridgewater's going to have a tough time finding a job that's going to pay him mega money. He might get a smaller deal. He might go back to New Orleans and end up trying to be the next guy. I know we get over this Taysom Hill phenomenon all over the league, but I think Teddy Bridgewater might go back too.
It'd be interesting because Teddy played phenomenally well in the 5 games he started, 5-0. Looks good, a guy that a lot of people like coming out. Yeah, you're right. It could be interesting just to see where these dominoes fall, right?
Where does he go?
Could he go to the Chargers?
The Chargers draft the guy. They're going to play with Tyrod Taylor as the bridge quarterback. You're not going to pay Teddy Bridgewater. Somebody said the Bucs. He doesn't drive the ball down the field. It doesn't fit the scheme. So I don't know where he's going to go. Great kid. Hope he finds a job, but I don't know where he's going to go.
It's going to be interesting to see that. Now, number 13 on your list was Anthony Harris, safety. Obviously ties to Kevin Stefanski, our Jeff Howard, our DB coach, Joe Woods. Very familiar, great player last year. Seems to be a pretty obvious need for the Browns as well. Would that be, if you were pegging free agents for the Browns, would he be at the top of your list?
I think he's going to be at the top of a lot of teams' lists. A young, athletic safety who played really well last year. Justin Simmons in Denver, another guy, but I think he's going to get tagged. He's going to make it to the market. So I think Harris could be a guy that the Browns go after. Yeah.
All right, now the Browns are not in the market for a free agent wide receiver, but I do have to ask, A.J. Green, coming off all these injuries, ahead of Amari Cooper, Pete?
Oh, yeah. He's a better player. Where's Amari Cooper in the big game? Amari Cooper didn't show up in the big games. You look at his home and away splits. He didn't show up on the road either. Yeah, I know. A.J. Green better than Amari Cooper.
If he stays healthy, where would you like to see A.J. Green play?
Buffalo. I think if you added him to that offense with all those little receivers, or New England. I mean, New England would make sense. They got to get Tom Brady help in New England. A.J. Green would be perfect fit.
Absolutely, he would be. What are you looking forward to the most this week at the Combine?
Well, hearing Joe Burrow say he's going to play in Cincinnati, that was never an issue, by the way. Whoever created that deserves to get all the heat for it. Because I just asked him, he was standing there. I go, where did that come from? He had no idea. He doesn't care. He wants to go play in Cincinnati.
And by the way, you had a field day with this. By the way, you're happy about this narrative because it allowed you to slam about 1,000 people on Twitter, which is one of your favorite pastimes anyway.
Yeah, I did, and I was right?
Of course you're right.
All right. Where was he going? He had no options.
When you think about for the Browns of this offseason, bringing it back to Cleveland, what's the one thing that you think they've got to do beyond tackle? Because I know you said that. What's one thing that they've got to do to get this team where it needs to be for this city?
Instill discipline in the locker room. No more clowning around. This is a business. It's a job. Act like it. Go into the building. Whenever you're there, work like a pro. Period. Absolutely. You will see results.
Absolutely. What about Yannick Ngakoue? I know you're tight with the Jags. Does he hit the market? Because he's a pretty darn good pass rusher.
No, he will not. They will tag him.
They should.
Oh, yeah, they will. The problem is he the best at his position? You're going to pay him the best at his position? That's a tough deal. I like the kid. I think he should be playing as a stand-up rush guy. And they should play Allen as a stand-up rush guy. What happened was they were thinking about doing that last year, and then Ngakoue held out, and they couldn't implement it. So we'll see.
That will be interesting. Now, obviously, for the Browns, what the Jags do at number 9 has a lot of importance to them. One guy that I'm in love with, which I know it doesn't fit the tackle mold, I call him Dos Unos. We don't like to speak his name on the show, Isaiah Simmons. I just said it, unfortunately. A lot of mocks have him go to the Jags. What do you think about Isaiah Simmons, and where do you think the Jags are looking?
Big and big. They need a left tackle. The Browns don't want to hear that. They need they need a left tackle, and they also need a down rush guy. They were terrible against the run. They're letting Marcel Darius hit the market. They need a down guy. If Derek Brown were there, he would be the pick. I think if one of those tackles, whether it's Becton or Wills or one of those guys is there, I think they could be the pick.
Interesting. What do you think they do at the quarterback position?
They compete, Minshew and Foles, but I think Minshew's the guy they want to be the quarterback.
Did you catch a little bit of Minshew mania?
I don't catch any mania. You know me better than that.
Pete mania, that's what you got. That's right, Prisco mania running wild. Pete, always a pleasure, and looking forward to talking to you during the season and seeing what we can do here in Cleveland.
You got it. Take care.